feeling like no pain right now. Like my back doesn't hurt, my shoulder doesn't hurt. He massaged my neck and got some knots out of there that hurt while he's doing it, but afterwards it's no pain, no gain. So it really did feel a lot better.
Hi, I'm Tyler Blessing, owner of TNT Myo-Mechanics, and in today's video, we're going to go over exactly what to expect during your 3 free sessions. But before we get started, you're probably thinking, what is myomechanics? I've never heard of that before. Myo means muscle, mechanics, somebody that fixes something. So what we do is we fix your muscles, and this helps you achieve pain-free movement. And honestly, this is the missing link to pain relief. Myomechanics is a proven system that identifies the true source to your pain that's been missed, and this allows you to live a pain-free life. Our pain identification process is broken up into 3 steps. Step 1 is mobility. So we want to see on how your muscles move. Are they able to stretch out to the point that they are supposed to? If not, then that's going to be a potential risk for a problem. Step 2 is stability. We want to identify the weaknesses of the muscle groups that are going to possibly be causing the problem. Anytime that you have a weak muscle group, it's going to put tension on the joint, and that's what's going to cause more distress, and this is going to cause pain. And then step 3 is movement. So if through your daily life, say you're getting up and out of a chair, you're getting up and off of the floor, you're getting in and out of bed, you can do those movements correctly, or you can do those movements wrong. And our goal is to identify which ones you're doing wrong and teach you how to do those correct. So now we're going to jump into what's involved in day 1. On day 1, I will greet you at the door. After I greet you, we're going to go into the office, and then whenever we go into the office, we're going to go through a series of questions that's going to help me better understand specifically everything about your pain. The biggest thing is I need to understand exactly the location and point of where your pain is because that's going to tell me what muscle groups I need to be looking at for the day. And all of these different questions are going to steer me into the kind of direction, things that I need to be looking for, and it's going to make me feel comfortable with understanding what your pain is. Some different things that I'm going to ask is, like I said, location of your pain. Has this been something going on recently? Has it been over years? Is the pain, is it striking? Does it feel like it's stabbing? Does it feel like it's achy all the time? Does it feel like it's just tight? All these different things are going to kind of direct me with where I need to get started more or less. Once I feel comfortable understanding your pain, the next thing that I do is I want you to understand what we do. So I want you to ask any questions that you may have that have been about our program or anything along those lines. And once you feel like all of your questions have been answered and you feel comfortable, and we both do, that's whenever we will start the evaluation process, and we'll go out to one of our mobility tables, and our big thing that we want to kind of figure out is what muscle groups are not moving. So especially with the area that you have that's specific with your pain, there's going to be muscle groups that attach to that area. So we want to figure out what specific muscle or muscles are causing your problem. So what we'll do is we'll do a couple different stretches to figure out how are you moving. And if motion is limited and it's not moving well, we're going to look at what muscles are inhibiting that motion from moving. And then what we're going to do is sometimes those muscles get really bound tight and get a lot of this fibrous tissue on them. So what we want to do is break that tissue up to allow for better movement. And once we identify exactly what muscles are really causing your pain, a lot of times what we do is you'll stand up, and we'll have a lot of people stand up after that first day and they're like, oh my gosh, that feels so much better. And a lot of times all this is because we're decreasing stress off of the skeletal structure, and that's what shuts off the pain receptors. That's why you're in pain, is because there's so much tension at this place. And once we release that, that is your problem. So very, very specifically, we want to make sure on our day 1 is we figure out exactly what muscles are causing your problem, and that will finish up our day 1. On day 2, we're going to figure out the stability component. We want to figure out what muscle groups are not providing the skeletal structures the stability. So especially with your specific pain, there's going to be specific exercises that we're going to need to do to identify what muscle groups are weak. So I always like to describe it like if you have a team and you have a person that's not doing their job, it causes everything else to work harder. And a lot of times that's what causes the problem is you have certain muscle groups that are working really hard, certain muscle groups are not doing anything. So during all of these different exercise assessments that we're going to do, we're trying to identify the weak muscle group that's not doing its job. And after this, From day 1 and day 2, our goal is to figure out what is not mobile and not moving, and our other component is what's not stable and what's really weak. Once we figure out the muscles that are causing the problem, this allows us to start actually creating your program and get you ready for day 3. On day 3, you'll get to experience what it's like to work with a TNT Myo-Mechanic. So what we'll be doing is we'll be doing all of the stretches and all of the exercises that we found are specific to your problem from day 1 and day 2. And all of these stretches and exercises are going to be done at the ability level that you are at. So we don't want to do something that's too easy or too hard, like I've said before. We want to make sure that the ability level is right for you right now. It's because really the secret sauce of TNT Myo-Mechanics is to be able to make sure we're putting the right stress on the body that you can handle. Because if we go too hard, it's going to cause problems. If we do too easy, it's not going to give us enough progress to kind of keep things moving forward. So once you complete your session with all of the specific stretches and exercises that were specific for you, I'm going to sit down with you and go over why did we choose these stretches, why did we choose these exercises, and get you to understand what muscles are really causing your problem and how do we go about fixing that over time. So all of this information that we do through the 3 days is completely free. There is no obligation to continue after, but if you feel like that we are the right fit for you, you can choose to continue forward. Stop living in pain. Fill out the form below and start living a pain-free life.